Giving everybody a chance to file in. Let's get it. A little too low. Right before you have this. Thank you, music. Yes. First of all, I want to apologize for being so late. I just wasn't going to change the time on the banner. If you look at the banner, it says weeknights between 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. But all day I had a power outage. All day long. I recorded something earlier. I was headed to the beach. And as I was about to download my recording to the computer and chop it up and set it up and throw something out there early for the day to feast on, poof. Then I looked outside and I said, wait a second. Looks like it's about to rain. Maybe it might rain. So something said, stay close to home. So I did. I stayed in the neighborhood. And in this little block that I'm on right now, it's really a nice community. I have to say that. The store owners and the beauty parlor there with Sister Betty and Victoria selling the fruits and Tina over there at the store. And the other young lady, I keep forgetting her name, but there's a little bar over there, a little open bar, you know, and everybody's sitting there and they wave and we all talk. They get the young ladies from downstairs at the pharmacy who you saw on Mr. Johnson's little short video. There's another one that works earlier in the day. But it's just nice. You go out there, they wave, everybody talks, how you doing? Try this out to eat. You know, here's a piece of fruit for you, you know, and I get fruit every day over there. So that's what's keeping me so healthy. But it's a wonderful thing. So I just want to welcome you on in. I'm just giving everybody a little extra time to file in. And when I zone out, I don't really do the chat room all the time, you know, but I see everybody here. And I'm glad we're here. And maybe we will go over to LanceScurv.com. I didn't actually figure out the issue all the way, but I have a feeling what it was because I did something different and it's working out fine. So LanceScurv.com, that's where you want to be just in case we stop things here, in case the dialogue gets a little strong. But I always try to see an angle in a story. And when I saw, and I don't know if you know about it, Megan Thee Stallion, a Houston rapper who's very popular right now, and she's in that world, the entertainment world. She's on the top right now. What was it? Last year, July, I think it was. No. 2 years ago. 2 years ago in July, 2020, she was at a party and she left the party. What was it? Kylie Jenner. She was at her party, and some friends of hers were in the car. What's the guy's name? Tony Lanez or Lanez? I don't know. It's a Z on the end instead of a S. So I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. They're in the car and two people in the back start arguing, and Megan wanted to get out of the car. You know, she got out of the car and she ended up getting back in the car. And I'll post the Gayle King interview there. I don't want to play it right now because it's on YouTube, and Gayle and Oprah, I know they make sure that nobody's going to play their stuff, not even the audio. I'm going to take a chance with it before they go ban me again, you know, because I am the Black Bin Laden of YouTube. So they look for me to do anything. Anything happens, you know, if somebody puts a firecracker in somebody's ear and blows it off, Lance did it, I could be in another country, right? So they watch for me for that. So I'm going to be careful because I want to be here and I want to build LanceScurv.com up, and we're only here to bring our family over there because they can't mess with us over there. You know, Superman said, I heard she's really a man. We never know. I mean, who knows? That's the biggest. They've been doing that in Hollywood since the 30s and 40s. It's rumored, and they say that it's an inside secret that many of the female Hollywood stars, the white stars, they were men. Well, we know Hollywood is about deception anyway, right? We know it's about putting something out there and somebody's getting a big thrill about it. And we buy it hook, line, and sinker. But I do feel that there are a lot of men that weren't than really women, that they pushed as women out there in Hollywood and entertainment. On top of that, maybe I'll be able to get some more inside information. I was speaking to a dear friend of mine about reconnecting with someone who is in that I know that's in my family, but I don't know. I don't want to be sacrificed now, right? I reached out to them and I'm expecting to hear from them, but I know that I can't. And I really, really wouldn't after what we heard from Nurse Navaya, how they I'm going to say it again if you didn't hear it. I have to. This is just too profound for it to become something that's buried, okay? Something that's buried in the YouTube videos and forgotten. She was on her job. Maybe some kind of early break or before she started. She was in a Facebook chat room. She's speaking a private group room, right? They got so many different ways now, right? And she's speaking about different things in the medical field. And it was medical people, right? She's a nurse, a traveling nurse. And what happened before she left the shift, she was summoned in the office of a high-end administrator that she didn't even know. But since she's a traveling nurse, she's not going to really know everybody, but she kind of has to know the people that are in good positions. And that person sat her down and presented her a long readout of the conversation that she had in that Facebook group chat room. Before she left on the shift, how do you do that? That shows that they're watching. And watching for what? What don't they want us to know? So it's so much deception going on, so much watching over us going on. What is it that they know is coming down the pike? And will they target those who are the truth tellers and the ones who are speaking truth, who are not looking so crazy right now, right? We don't look crazy as much as we did years ago. Less and less people are calling me crazy from the things I said years ago. I wasn't 100% on everything. I'm not somebody who's trying to sit here and predict the future. I'm not trying to get props being this guy who knows everything, because I don't know everything. I didn't know the lights were going to be off all day today. I sat around, but I enjoyed myself. I got much needed rest, but that's the reason why we're having such a late show. I couldn't sleep. At one point I was winding down, get ready to sleep, but the lights, poof, came back on. They might even still go off. Who knows? It came on like 5 or 6 times for 3 seconds. It was like a tease, you know? But anyway, getting back to this. So Megan Thee Stallion gets out of the car, I think again, and the two people are arguing, and there's mayhem in the car, and she goes toward the car somehow, and this guy, Tony Lanes or Lanez, somebody correct me on that. Is it Lanez or Lanes? And put the S at the end if it is, if you know. But he evidently shot her in the foot. And they were very, 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 by her description in that interview, and I'm going to find it and drop it in. Everything will be there. And I'll put it even on. There's a page on LanceScurv.com dedicated just to this, and it's broadcasting right now. Maybe I can just drop that link inside. Let me see. But it's on the homepage. Okay. And I will put it there. So if you save this, I will put it there so you have everything in there. And there's a picture on it that I want you to see. There's a link to the site. If you want to go there, you can go there. The chat room is in there also. But I probably will discontinue this after a while. So for those listening to this on YouTube after the fact, that after the live broadcast, if you want to hear the rest of it, at some point, we're going to go to LanceScurv.com or that particular link that you see that I just dropped in there. Is it Lanez? Yeah. Midnight Green, how are you? And don't think I'm ignoring everybody else. I just saw her pop in because I'm looking there. Yeah, of course, nothing that we do. They're watching us now. I always said that before, and people say, oh, you're not important. I was not trying to sound important, but I happen to know personal things about myself while the government online has been watching me from 2005 because I was in law enforcement and I did talk a certain way there, not broadcasting it, but the stuff on my website. And that's the reason why, and I know this for a fact, I was in corrections. When I first went down to Orlando, I was fired from corrections because of the things that I had on my website. They found it and the higher ups didn't like it. And who knows how much so-called higher up, I'm not saying they're higher than me, but they're hierarchy. And that's what it was. They had to say that I shared extra trays of food with the inmates, but you do that as practices the gray area of the laws and say, hey, who wants to come out here if you don't have a trustee to clean up the common day room area? And everybody goes back into the cell, depending on the custody level, right? Because you can't always mix all inmates, right? And I hate to use that word inmate. So you say, hey, I got 2 extra trays of food. Who wants it? Oh, I'll do it. I'm hungry. There's always that brother that eats a lot extra. And even if it's bad food and tastes bad, he wants to feel that calorie rush in his body. So he'll do it. He'll mop, clean, sweep, go back. All right, open the door. All right, thanks a lot. And go in there with his 2 trays, especially when it's something so-called good when they want. But anyway, I was fired. That was the reason why. You got girls giving blowjobs through the bean holes. You got dudes bringing in cocaine. You got dudes doing things and acting as a middleman for the gang stuff and treating the inmates good. Things I've seen. I'm not even in the country no more, so I'll tell it. I've seen it. The abuse of inmates. Now, if somebody came to me and said, oh, did you see this? Yes, I saw it. I'm not a snitch, but if your family member was inside locked up, would you want somebody to do like this? No, I'm not with that. That could have been me. That could have been your daughter. That could have been whatever. You're supposed to do a job. You're supposed to do it right. And that's what I did. They didn't like that. I came into that job as a man. I didn't come into that job looking to gain some type of control that I don't have in my personal life. I came in there as a man, right? So many officers, whether they're police officers or correction officers, many of them, I'm not going to say all of them, a lot of them are seeking some measure of control. Something that has to be respected that comes with the badge on the inside or the gun and the badge on the outside. Not everybody, but many of them. And that type of authority can be very powerful. It can be an intoxicant, especially those who are in law enforcement or in any job where you have some authority over an individual and you don't have control at home, right? You a man on the job, you could be 5'4", 6'7", doesn't matter the physical size. For someone to get that badge on, they finally feel this rush. I was never like that. I came into that job as a man. I would tell these guys, I say, listen, I'm only here to make money. I'm going to do my job. I'm here to make money and bounce, do my 8 and hit the gate, right? But for some, it was more than that. Oh, go over here, do this, do that. Inmate, what are you doing? Let's frisk them. Blah, blah, blah. Just all that stuff, just putting them through all of this stuff for what? The dude who they harassed him might look like the man that his wife cheated with, so he gonna harass him even more. You have some women in there who work in the female side. They might like a particular female and harass her because she's not reciprocating. Oh, I see you got 3 more months. You know, you getting out in 3 months. What's up? What you mean, what's up? I got somebody already. Then here's on and popping. That's a garbage can, y'all. And there's no way you're going to go in the garbage can and hang around and not come out stinking or smelling like the garbage, unless you really want to separate yourself. So yeah, they all watching us. And I was under special investigation. What was it called? MBI, Metropolitan Bureau of Investigation. I don't care if they know it or not. And they would usually go after and check people who like crimes of prostitution in an establishment or a topless bar that just wasn't a topless bar, that they would have activities in the back room of prostitution. So they would go under things like that. But they investigated me to see if I had a connection to the Nation of Islam, the Black Panthers, the Rastafarians, the 12 tribes, just all the black groups that they weren't used to dealing with at that time that were coming from up north. And because I got along with those guys and I spoke the language and they understood where I was coming from and how I never had any incidents. I find it strange. You've been here for years. And you're like, what is he doing? Why? Sometimes I go to a certain area on overtime, unexpected to the inmates of the day, like, oh, yo, Scurv is working because I'm having fun, but I'm doing my job. We're going to talk. And those times for me, as well as my whole life, was a precursor to me doing this, because I'd go in, we drawing pictures, we laughing, we joking, we talking 8 hours, telling stories, hearing their stories, bugging out. See you when I come back off my days off. So there are a lot of people who work with me that didn't like that. They saw my drawings, they saw my writings. Some of them knew my website back at the time. This is in the early 2000s, right? So your reputation will follow you. And when the government pegs you as somebody that thinks different, because they know down in the subsequent years, they want to control everybody. So if you're a person who speaks a certain way and you feeling around for the light switch of truth, you may not be there all the way. Man, my back is itching. What the heck is up? I'm not too ashamed here. I'm going to take this microphone, turn it around. Man, I got it. It's always where you want to scratch it, and it's beyond where you can reach. That one part, like it knows, like, okay, let's move over. He can't get us here. I got you. See, I don't care. We all do it, right? But yeah, they watch. It's like that blade of grass that grows a little higher than the rest of them. So those are the ones we're going to cut down, because those are the ones who can see a little more. And although they don't have it all the way 100%, they're seeking it. And we can't have that kind of person around those people who we want to have as sheeple. And that's what it is. So back to the story. I don't know how I got off on that, right? But she found herself shot. And I believe it was Tony Lanez or Lanes that did it. So now her adrenaline was pumping. She looked down and saw the blood gushing out. And somebody had called the cops in that neighborhood because she was going to make an attempt. She said she was crawling at one point. She's limping at one point. I'm going to put the video on that particular page. I'll drop the page once again. Okay, here we go. That's the page, and it is also on the homepage of LanceScurv.com. Like I said, I'm going to keep saying that till we realize, and I'm thankful for everybody who has signed up, who keeps going there, who uses the chat room, that if the chat, nobody's there, you're not going to get an answer right away. But if I'm there and I hear that noise, I'm going to say something to you, you know. I'll do more little advertisements later on, because with the site, it's going to be very important, because I know the last time I was banned by YouTube is not the last time they're going to try to come after me, right? And it's okay, because we have our own thing. But anyway, all of a sudden she hears the cops coming. And she's like, oh, man, I hope, because she said the George Floyd thing had just happened. And she was like, oh, God, I hope nobody gets killed. But isn't that something? She's 27 years old, I believe, give or take, but 27 years old at this point. I'm not sure if it was at the incident or now, but she's in that range. And isn't it something for somebody to be someone who's famous and popular because of what she does, but she still understands how things work. She still understands her position in the whole hierarchy of life, that they are Black. Don't know what they were driving, but I know it had to be something fairly nice, right? And I don't know what kind of neighborhood it was, but with all of this stuff just happening and all the tensions that she knew, we know, we've always known. This is nothing new for us. It's just something that's more public now, because we have different means of communication where there are people, and we're going to get into it now. Some white folks, oh, they don't know about this thing. They heard about it, but all those niggas are always complaining. They're always complaining. They're always because they're not the victims of it, generally. But they do have things going on within their race against each other. You know? Imagine if we took every Black person out of the country, and even those who call themselves Latino, who are really Black, but they want to have a different title, and they use that to split us up number-wise, because I see a whole lot of Latinos that don't look like anything else but us. They just speak Spanish and know how to swim, right? So you take all those people out of America, they will turn on each other. They turn on each other all the time anyway. But if we were gone and just watching America like a big cam, like let's watch the news and see what's going on in America right now. And you're in the motherland or you're somewhere, South America or somewhere, and you watch it, the crime will be just as high and go up even higher because that's their nature. See, they will team up against us. But if we're not around, their bloodthirsty nature is to go at each other, right? But that's not our fight. But see, we know this about the society. It's just so well publicized. And if Megan Thee Stallion is 27 years old, and this is 2022, what was she? Born in 1995. 1995 was the other day for me. 1995. Where were you in 1995? What were you doing? Look how it was then. It's the same stuff going on. 27 years ago, that number 1995 sounds like the other day to me. But I'm older. You all saw how young I looked when I was 37 on that passport photo. I've aged. I've gotten wiser. Life is far different than what I thought it was, but it's more favorable because I have a higher mind. But as we ascend to a higher mind, look at it. Society has remained as it is and even went back and just got worse. I remember looking at the old Jet magazines. I mean, the ones from the 50s, because Jet magazines were so good. You can keep them for 10 years, look at them again, and it's still. And they used to show some graphic stuff in Jet magazines. I don't know how many people are old enough to remember that. But you look in the Jet magazines and they say, man beheaded in Alabama. And they showed a picture of the man laying down there with no head rolled off somewhere. You might see in the background just looking at you. Like, what the heck? But that was good. Not for the person who got their head chopped off, not to show graphic crimes, but things were going on that were graphic, that we had to see and endure. What about those faceless tears that we don't see? Of that mother who was crying, but she never, no press. Not that you want to be famous off of your family member getting killed, but to bring awareness. Like Emmett Till's mother wanted to show Emmett Till as he was. After his face was smashed in and laying in the water swollen, we need to talk about these things. But they don't want us talking about these things these days. Why? They have us down in the phones and all of this metaverse and different things to pull us away from the real stories of what's happening. And so even when you have a person like Megan Thee Stallion come on to a show with Gayle King, yes, and I will say it, I'm going to give credit where credit is due, right? Let me scroll up and see. Kamal had said it, and let me get the name right. It comes to numbers SD and H99. First one, if you go on the chat room at LanceScurv.com, they said basically Gayle King is there to display our dysfunctions. And I don't know, just to be funny, I'm looking at Gayle King in this interview, and I'm like, of course she's getting older, but the more and more I see her, she's looking like an older Jewish woman. She does. She's starting to look like an old Jewish woman. And maybe because of her wealth and her proximity to those who run Hollywood, maybe she is morphing into that. Maybe she's getting a race transplant. I don't know. But look at her in that interview. She's sitting there. She's looking like an old Jewish woman. Now, they can't ban me for that. They'll try anything. Well, he's getting close. Let's watch him because we will knock it off in the middle of the broadcast, right? So they come and they ask her, what happened? And she was so scared that she told him, said, listen, I stepped on glass. Knowing that she's probably pissed at this person for shooting her in the foot because Gayle was trying to dig for dirt. Also, in the interview, she says, come on. You say you were close. But this, you know, it's for ratings. Was there any kind of sexual relationship going on? Now that's Megan Thee Stallion's business. If it was, it's none of my business. But the way she kind of smirked and looked and she said, no, it probably was. And I think Tony was saying that it was. But so what? Somebody was shot in the foot. And the whole purpose of me reporting on this, because I'm not a reporter, but I saw an interesting angle in it because She's telling everybody, listen, I lied because I didn't want to have anybody killed. There's a hot gun involved. I just got shot in the foot. And being the fact that maybe she had more pull being who she was or is, and maybe somebody recognized her, they would believe her maybe if she said that. And she said that to save the situation from escalating because she felt that the cops would be more gung-ho and gun happy and trigger happy because of the atmosphere of the country at that time, right? What the hell went down my throat? Yo, I don't know what's up. Bugs have been just like I'm some kind of bug port, like an airport in my nose trying to get me in my eye. I don't know what's going on. You know, whatever it was, I must have swallowed. I don't know. That's nasty. Be some bug. Oh my God, I'm dying. I don't want to go in his stomach. He eats too much. But anyway, for real, that makes sense. It makes sense. She'll deal with him later. You shot me in the foot, but I don't want to see you die. Because she felt the situation escalated beyond reason anyway. That makes a lot of sense. She could have said, yes, he shot me and he has a gun and he's in the car. Do you think it would have ended up nice? What friend shoots a person in their foot? But Gail digging for traces or proof of a sexual, what does that have got to do with it? I mean, that could be part of it. But here you have her on national TV, and you're going to ask her to put her business out like that. She's a performer. Yes, she made the freaky songs and puts on the sexy outfits and titillates, but she's an entertainer. Remember that point too, because I'm going to go back to that. Social media is also entertainment. If I'm talking to somebody in my house, we're sitting by the couch. This is the way I really am all the time. But there's a subdued version of LanceScurv that I'll be like, you know, on the show today, we're going to talk about certain things and I want to bring up certain points. And when people see me like that, they're like, are you on drugs? Are you high or something? Because really, I am always animated, but only with people that I know. When I'm in the outside world, it's a certain way that I carry myself. So why would they dig for that? Was that really important? It's entertaining. People want to be nosy, but what was she going to ask? What was she going to ask next after that? Because, you know, these questions segue into something else. And, you know, some people, if it was Howard Stern, which it wouldn't be that way, right? You wouldn't have her. And he's not around like that currently no more. Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe he's retired or what. He's still alive. But he bust out with something crazy. You know, was there a sexual relationship? And you admit to that? Did you give him a head before you got shot? What? They don't care anything about your dignity, no matter who you are. These talk show hosts will act like your friend, butter you up before the show, go over what they're going to talk, but they always slip that one question in that you weren't expecting. You got to expect that. So she smirked and said no. But Gail knew what was time. Look, they don't want to ask me that. Imagine me on Gayle King. And they talk about LanceScurv. Let's just make it like I knew Megan and me and her were cool, but they had me on the show. Maybe I got shot in the foot. Well, LanceScurv, can I ask you? This is Gail now. Did you have a sexual relationship with Megan Thee Stallion? I said, listen, I'm going to tell you all the details of that question, but tell me something. Are you licking Oprah? Huh? So they'd ban me, they'd bury me, they'd rip off all my social media platforms. They'd probably destroy the website, get the government, and we got to get rid of this guy. He is just too bold. Yes, I would. I would do it. That would be my 15 minutes of fame that I'm not even looking for. But I would not hold back with these people, and they know that. But the thing is, we walk around with this trauma. I'm not going to say fear like we're cowards, but it's an extreme apprehension in the company of the police. We don't want to deal with the police because we know what time it is. And for the good cops out there, are there any good cops? I know some close to me, and they tell me things. I wouldn't put their name in anything, or put their lives in jeopardy, because that thing is a gangster thing. Don't think because you're retired, you can just go run off with the mouth. You see what I mean? But these who have the reputation, who don't give a damn, that are not properly punished or disciplined, and they're renegade because it's a racket. We know what it is, right? So I'm not going to sit here and split hairs. We know the deal generally with police. We don't want to be bothered with them. We'd rather handle our own stuff. When it gets to be extreme, sometimes some people do call them. See? So I'm not going to knock somebody who does, but don't talk against them and go run and call the cops. Don't punk out like that. If you're a bad man, you better be a bad man across the board. The only good cop is a dead cop. I've heard people say stuff like that I know. And when something little happens, here they come running to the cops. What? You're supposed to be a big bad dude. What you talking about? So anyway, she did not want to see anybody get killed because we know generally how things happen. And she brought up George Floyd, right? But that's the way it is all the time. You all know my got beat by 11 police officers story. I'll drop the link in there later on. But that was very traumatic for me. Did I get any treatment or any kind of counseling? Or no, I walked around crazy for 2 years. Not crazy where you would know it, but there were things that I was going to do that was out of my character. And if I did it, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be locked up somewhere forever. But the harassment after that, and just to get into that world, nobody wants to really be bothered with that. I don't care how bad you say you are. You don't want to be locked up and away from your loved ones. Life is too sweet on the other side. So this is what she didn't want to have happen to her friends, to get locked up or to get killed on the spot, right? But here's the thing that seemed to bring her even more trauma on top of the trauma that she suffered, because I can understand it. I believe her, what she said. On social media, they're saying that she lied. She's lying about this and lying about that, maybe lying about getting shot, but the doctor found bullet fragments in her foot, and there's still bullet fragments in her foot to this day. So what'd she do? Well, I don't want them to think I'm lying. Let's get a bullet and hammer it and break it down and let me stick the fragments in my foot. And so what, the masses of people are going to see that? There was a doctor who discovered this. Even after she did lie about getting shot. She said it was glass. But then when she went to the doctor, it came out. So now she has to fess up to this and explain why. But now let's get to the social media part and why. Why do our people come after us and others on social media, and the most trivial things they want to nitpick and come after a person after they've achieved a certain amount of fame and fortune, even though we know what's up in that world. And like I said, I put a picture on the actual page on the site. I want you all to go over there and check it out. And if you want to go over there and stay over there in the chat room, fine, because I'm probably going to end this right now and just go on over there because I want to keep the traffic up on the site. So if you can, please go to that link that I just dropped. I'm going to end this show. I've been on for 34 minutes, which is a long time. And I want to talk about this a little more, maybe a little more scathing. And for me right now, it's 1:34 in the morning. I don't have to really get up, but I have to get up at a certain point. I don't want to stay up too late, but I didn't want to miss out having a show, right? So it's still the 26th over on the East Coast, but it's the 27th for me. But because of the power outage, for those who came late, they say, wait a second, weeknight, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. What time? So right now it's got to be what? 9:35 over there on the East Coast. Well, that's the reason why we had power outages all day, and I got on here late. So, here we go. I haven't been looking at the chat room, so now this is what I'm going to say. To watch the rest of the show that is on now, go to LanceScurv.com or go to that link that I just dropped, and you'll be able to see the rest of the show there. This is going to be common practice for us because, like I said, they banned me too much. We don't know, and we want to be connected. And I'm going to tell you something to do when we get there. I'm saying. So Facebook, you're on your way out. Okay, I'm gonna remove it. Okay, remove. Okay, I have another LanceScurv page that I'm gonna do. A couple of them on YouTube. Okay, not yet. I'll do the other one, which doesn't get much views, but it's like a